Iceland is heaven and hell at the same time, a dream and a nightmare at the same time. Iceland is known as the land of ice and fire. It is a small country located in the middle of the ocean and covered in snow and ice. But it has a lot to offer. It seems as if it does not belong to this world, as it has a beautiful and breathtaking nature. Iceland is an island nation located in the cold waters with a population of only 360,000 people. A large part of the country consists of volcanic areas, as there are about 200 volcanoes, many of which are still active. Interestingly, all of the active volcanoes in the country have feminine names. Before watching this video, make sure to subscribe on the channel and press the notification button and like the video to support us. And continue watching. In terms of area, Iceland is similar to South Korea and is slightly larger than Azerbaijan. Iceland has preserved since the past. And until today, the nature of this island state, thanks to its geographical location, it has not witnessed destructive events throughout its history, and has been able to maintain its language and culture and its customs. Iceland was part of the Kingdom of Norway until 1918. Then it became part of the Kingdom of Denmark. During World War II, relations with Denmark were severed. And in 1944 it became the Republic of Iceland, and its capital is the city of Rijeka, which is also its largest city, where approximately 123,000 people live. And it is one of the least densely populated areas in the world. This country does not have an army because Iceland is the most peaceful and secure country in the world and does not need an army. There is not even a fence around the Prime Minister's house. Iceland is the only country in NATO that does not have an army. The police force in the country is unarmed, and the reason is that the police job in this country is very boring. There are only 127 prisoners in all the country's prisons, according to data issued by the Global Peace Index. This country is also the most peaceful country in the world. 95% of the people of this country are Icelandic and speak their official language. Did you know that throughout history there has been no Icelandic language? Change is absolutely strange, which means that an Icelander today is able to read a text written about 1,000 years ago. There are different people who said that they came to this region by chance and discovered it. But as we saw in the Viking series, Floki was the first person to set foot on the land of Iceland. He was Floki, a famous Viking warrior who spent winter in Iceland. And then the land was called Iceland, which means land of ice, and since about 874 the first group of immigrants arrived in this land. In the part where the Vikings settled that the Norwegians from Iceland, one can clearly see their culture. Iceland has beautiful natural attractions. It is a remote country about the problems of other geographical areas. Or in other words, we can say that Iceland is a paradise independent of the world. In this small country, there are 100 waterfalls. 100% of the electricity in Iceland comes from these waterfalls. This means that no sources are used, such as coal plants, which harm the environment. For this reason, Iceland is called the country with the cleanest air in the world, and also the cleanest water in the world. And the cleanest natural environment in the world. Iceland ranks very high in terms of quality of life and well-being. According to the 2021 index of the happiest countries in the world, Iceland ranks 4th after Finland, Denmark, and Switzerland by a small margin. The average life expectancy of its people is 80 years. Its people are very cheerful, and it is very rare that he spends the weekend at home. And although life in Iceland is not easy, people have to resist nature and fight well against its harsh conditions. A quarter of the land of this island is usable. And this, of course, has its conditions since Iceland is a volcanic island and rich in hot springs. You encounter hot pools wherever you go. These pools are points for locals to socialize. People spend fun and enjoyable times in the pools in summer and winter. Some go first to the freezing water and then immediately enter the hot water from which the steam rises. Hot water sources in Iceland is so abundant that when people go out to eat, they bury their food in the ground, and it cooks easily thanks to the volcanic heat of the land. In this country, surnames do not have any special meaning, and the suffix son is usually added to the end of a baby boy's name. The mother's name can also be used in the same way if desired, in that if you know the name of someone's father, you can find his phone number. and the numbers of all people, including government ministers and members of parliament, in the national phone book. If we see small children sleeping in their prams in the streets in 5 degrees below zero, we should not be surprised, as the mothers of these children, they sit with their friend in the cafe to have a hot coffee and leave their children sleeping outside the cafe in Arabat. The reason for this is to keep the children in the open air instead of being in a closed space. This custom is not new, but rather very old. What kind of people are the people of Iceland? Let's get to know each other. They have a little bit of Icelandic tradition, combined pagan and polytheistic beliefs. The remaining divine elements of the country's ancient culture and Christian beliefs have formed their own unique culture from this mixture. While nearly 100% of the country's population are Christians, the number of non-religious and pagan populations in this country is growing rapidly. Christian and pagan beliefs have mixed with each other to the point that 80% of people believe in fairies. That's why you can see small houses in the backyards built for the little creatures. Even when building roads, they don't touch the big rocks. And caves, because they don't want to disturb the little creatures when moving to a new house. The neighbor's dog's water is food for the house owners. New people wish them wealth and prosperity, and Icelanders never give knives, as they believe it will ruin their relationships, although Icelanders are known for their warm feelings and friendliness despite the cold weather. Tourists think they are very cold people. However, Icelanders give great importance to their relationships with family, neighbors, and friends, but they treat harshly those who throw garbage on the ground or cause pollution of the beaches, because Iceland is the cleanest country in the world at the moment. How can a country whose land is mostly unsuitable for agricultural production and is always exposed to natural disasters such as volcanic eruptions become a happy country and have a high economic position? Iceland's economy is based on fishing and the fish industry because it is an island country. The fish industry and fish constitute 77% of the country's exports. Due to the climatic conditions, agricultural products are very scarce. Even fruits and vegetables, including tomatoes, are imported from countries such as the Netherlands. For this reason, the main food for Icelanders consists mainly of meat, and fish in this country are also practiced animal husbandry. And dairy and protein products are produced, and products such as tuna, frozen fish, fish meal, and fish oil are exported to different parts of the world. And of course, both meat and fish in this country are of very high quality. It is said that the most delicious dishes, the world's meat and seafood, can only be found in Iceland. Is a country that is very poor in agriculture, and this has had a negative impact on its food culture, to the point that dishes containing vegetables are difficult to find, and the culture of the people tends towards foods rich in protein. This has in turn led to the emergence of similar dishes. There is food that Icelanders eat and love a lot. Most of us, and even the people of the world, eat it and cannot even taste it. It is a food with a bad smell, but the people of Iceland enjoy eating it, which is rotten shark meat. In addition, the sheep's head and sperm eggs are among the favorite foods of the people of Iceland. The people of Iceland can cook meat in hot groundwater or in the warm soil of the volcanic regions when the temperature is 20 degrees below zero. The people of Iceland remove the sand and bake bread in it, but you cannot find many vegetables and fruits. And if you find them, they are very expensive, as their price is very high for them. And because of the low population compared to other countries, after exporting the products, the Icelandic ton gets a larger share. On the other hand, Iceland has a good reputation in terms of tourism, winter, and warm water. It also achieves good revenues thanks to the influx of tourism. However, you should know that traveling to Iceland as a tourist may cost you a lot of money. In terms of cost, Iceland leads list of European countries besides Denmark. Although Iceland is not a member of the European Union, it has established its own economic zone in cooperation with 4 other non-EU countries. Iceland is known as the land of ice and fire because of its cold, snowy climate and the presence of volcanic areas. However, the areas the north of the country is really cold, and the lowest temperature ever recorded in Iceland is 39 degrees below zero. Although this is considered very low compared to the cold and ice in Iceland. Many of the streets and alleys in the city are equipped with floor heating systems to prevent freezing. But if snowstorms start, It will not be there. No technology is capable of confronting this, and people will become prisoners in their homes for weeks. And since it is not clear what surprises nature has in store, the people of Iceland usually do bulk shopping. And this country is distinguished from the rest of the world by its beautiful natural scenery and films such as Lord of the Rings. And Game of Thrones were filmed and inspired. The makers of these films are from those scenes, and after filming large parts of the Game of Thrones series in this country, Iceland saw a boom in the tourism industry, and this country succeeded in using new ideas in the field of tourism and achieved good growth in this sector. According to statistics in 2019, tourism accounted for 42% of goods exports. Icelandic services. And if you do not plant trees yourself, it is unlikely that you will see trees in nature growing on their own, because the climate there does not help growth. And because there are almost no forests, the diversity of wildlife is very limited. And now I will tell you something interesting about this country. And I am sure you will like it. There are absolutely no mosquitoes on this island. Located in the Scandinavian region and the North Atlantic Ocean, there are about 1,300 species of insects in this sparsely populated country. But no mosquitoes can be found. I was very pleased with the cleanliness of the environment, the intelligence of the people and their ability to shape nature, and the absence of mosquitoes in this country. I think there are many. One of the things we should learn from Iceland, for example, is when we see people in our country throwing garbage into the sea and washing dishes on the banks of lakes. We should really learn a lot from the people of Iceland. And especially from the Nordic countries, the government has painted and decorated many streets and alleys to keep people happy and positively, because the sun in Iceland does not shine at all during the long winter months. Or it does not come close for 18 days, and this can affect people's morale. And so the government tries to keep people happy, in addition to fountains and hot springs. There are many areas of natural beauty in this land, which worth seeing. 11% of this country's area is made up of rivers. Floating glaciers are one of the country's most important tourist attractions. The largest natural glacier in Europe, with an area 3 times the size of Luxembourg, is located in Iceland. This country has more than 30 active volcanoes, and a volcanic eruption occurs once every 4 years on average. Although many of these eruptions are small and are a joy to watch from a distance. Since the 17th century, the country has also become one of the best places to see the polar lights. Tourists are constantly attracting tourists, and their numbers are increasing day by day. In addition to the mountain, ice caves, and volcanoes, Iceland is the center of a lifestyle that may be envied by other countries. If you have the opportunity to visit Iceland and see all this for yourself, do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.